Welcome to Krome Cast, Tech It Out. I'm Sam Major, Commercial Director for Krome Technologies, joined once again by Ben Randall, Technical Director.
Hi Sam, thanks for having me.
No problem. So Ben and I are here to talk about understanding Microsoft Secure Score.
Indeed we are, yes.
So as we usually do, you're going to see a few things we're going to run through today.
Yeah, so first of all, we're just going to look at what is Secure Score, why does it matter, what's good, what is a good Secure Score. Then we're going to go through a quick demo where you find it, a little bit of insight into what you should be doing, and then finally a summary and the considerations.
Perfect. So let's jump right in, I guess, most people hopefully will know what Secure Score is, but let's cover that off and then we can get into what good looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. So not everybody is necessarily going to know about it. It's a feature of M365. It's available in the admin portals, and it gives a guide as to the security posture of your environment, your Microsoft environment. It looks at your client machines, the settings on those in terms of Defender and patching vulnerabilities, looks at software that's installed on them, whether that's up to date. Then also you've got all the settings within the M365 portal, whatever features you might be using, things like spam filtering and so on, the more advanced features there. And it gives you a kind of a percentage how secure you are. Theoretical 100%, you'd be completely secure according to everything, but that, for reasons we'll go into, that may not be entirely attainable, realistic.
Okay.
But obviously a 0 would be absolutely terrible. So, pretty simple.
Yep.
And you're looking to get your score as high as you can within reasonable limits. I mean, so,
I guess what is good?
Right. So a good would be kind of 60 to 80%. Okay. Really good would be 80% plus.
Yeah.
If you're on 40 to 60, that's maybe average. And if it's below 40,
pay attention.
Really not good. Yeah.
Okay. So talk me through in Secure Score. We talked a bit off camera. One thing we should know is it's not necessarily the easiest thing to find in the 365 portals. You have to dig a little bit to find it. But let's say I go in there as an admin, I open it up, check out my Secure Score. Brilliant. About to pat myself on the back, and it's 40.
Right. Exactly. So what's going on there is that the situation is a moving goalpost. There are vulnerabilities coming along all the time, fresh attacks, and we discover holes in products we've used for years, and and so there's more mitigations for those get produced as well. So once a new vulnerability is identified in some feature, and there's a mitigation available, then your score will decline if you haven't patched that, if you tick that box, haven't gone through that process. What this does is kind of makes that really wide breadth of you're not going to know every setting. There's a really wide breadth of knowledge there, and you don't necessarily know that, I haven't enabled BitLocker on all the client machines. There might be 5 machines I'm not aware of, haven't got it enabled, but it'll flag that up.
Okay.
And so you can go through and go, there's these machines, generally we're okay, but there's these particular machines haven't had that enabled. Let's go and remediate that. And obviously once you've dealt with that, your score will raise that. So, yeah. Interesting.
So there's obviously got to be a regular cadence of an admin. It's not a case, I've ticked all the boxes, let's say, I've taken all the remedial action, we're sitting there at 90%, well done me, forget about it.
No, exactly. It's going to come back next month, it will have dropped back down to 85 or something, and so because something new will have come along inevitably. It's IT. We're not in a static environment.
No, unfortunately not. Just for context, I guess I probably should have checked before I asked this question. Krome Secure Score?
I believe it's about 87 or something at the moment. So nice. It's again, as I say, and there's a chart that you can see the progression of this. It's up and down. Once the SOC team get their teeth into it, it'll climb maybe over 90%, and then it'll drop back again. So, yeah.
But it is the importance of that regular cadence of someone actually paying attention to it. It's not a one-time thing. You have to go in there and take the recommendations. It says, as you said, there might not be BitLocker, or some people might have MFA enabled. Exactly. Taking those seriously and putting those into practice as soon as possible.
Yeah, because it may be things that you think you've set, but they're not fully everywhere. And so it'll help find that for you, makes it that much easier.
And I guess the bigger you are, some of the large enterprises we deal with will have well-established JML processes, but people could suddenly potentially appear that we didn't know and didn't get the update pushed out, or didn't get BitLocker, but whatever it might be. So paying attention to that score and being fairly rapid on remediations.
Yeah, exactly. And pushing out might be a new vulnerability in a piece of Adobe software or whichever, and it'll let you know that, 300 machines have got that still. We need to update our Intune, push out the new version, deal with that vulnerability.
Okay. Well, we'll drop into your quick demo in just a second. Before we do, we have actually run a masterclass on this where Jack Petman of our security operations team did a bit of a deep dive on this. So if you are interested in understanding more, following Ben's demo, you'd like to understand that, by all means get in contact with us. We can arrange a call with Paul or Jack or one of the security analysts for you if you want to go a bit deeper. But until then, let's drop into your demo.
Okay. Now, this is going to be a quick demonstration of how to find the Microsoft Secure Score in the M365 admin console. As you can see, we're in a demonstration environment here, Contoso Electronics. Obviously, my name is Alan de Young. If you want to, once you've logged in here, you get this default view. As you can see under Admin Centers, you can see I've recently opened security, so it's a sort of a recently opened item there. But if you can't see it, just click on Show All down here, and you can see you get all the admin centers in order. As we can see, security is at the top. So I click on that. It'll open security.microsoft.com. So obviously you can just open that URL. As long as you've got the right admin access, you should get to this page. Now, as you can see here, this is the front page for security, and we've got a whole load of dashboards. All the various things that it reports on, some which are not showing anything, others which have got a lot of data on them. As you can see, there's a Secure Score dashboard right here. But if for some reason you can't see that, you just go to Exposure Management and then click on that and then go to Secure Score. So this is the Secure Score dashboard. As you can see here, there's an immediate sort of high-level view. Got our actual score. 56.41%, which is not brilliant. We've got some recommended actions to review, and it shows us the items which have regressed, so items that have lost points in the last 90 days. This is very much a moving target, trying to keep up with security. It's not something you fix once and then never look at it again. It's very much an evolving picture. There's more vulnerabilities being found all the time. There's new exploits being generated, but equally there are remediations for all those problems being generated all the time. Microsoft coming out with new best practices and various features to improve security on your devices. Now, you can also see there's a breakdown by whether it's identity, data, device, or apps. Where the scores are best or worst, and we can see here like the trend that we've got. As you can see, we've steadily been improving, so that's a good thing. We're still a way to go, and there's a comparison between us and a organization of a similar size. So 3 months ago we were quite well below what would be expected, but as time gone by, now we're actually substantially better. So recommended actions, this is where I would start. Go here. As we can see, it gives us a ranking in terms of the benefits, in terms of percentage points that we get for actually achieving 100% coverage with fixing these issues. So it's here its top recommendation is enabling BitLocker. So the downsides to that are very few. If as long as your machines support it, it's definitely worth doing. So that obviously encrypts the drive. Reduces the chance of data theft if you lose a machine or something like that. So implementation status, no machines have had it implemented. You can see exposed entities. We've got our 5 demo laptop machines which don't have it enabled. And there's recommendations on what you need to do to enable it. So similarly, if we were to go to, let's have a look at this phishing email one, for example. So threshold controls the sensitivity with which machine learning models are applied to email messages to determine whether a phishing attempt has occurred. So you can make that higher for more sensitivity, but the default value is 1, so 2 or 3 are recommended. So we haven't set that. That's an anti-phishing. The current status is on default. So, and again, it tells you about the what you should be doing to implement it. If you click on this Manage button down here, it will take us to security and compliance, and we should be able to see the anti-phishing policies. So we've just got the default. If we were to click on that, we'll be able to see that what level of intelligence it's got enabled. Then you probably have to create your own custom policy and set it according to, as you can see here, the phishing threshold, that's what we were looking for, sorry, is 1. So you need to create your own policy where you set that to 2 or 3 and put that above the default value. And then that would remediate that problem. So that immediately would gain us the improvement in the score. Now, if you say, okay, I want to do that, but I don't want to do it right now, because you see that's marked as to address there, so we can edit the status and action plan. So we can say, okay, we want to do this, we're going to do it tomorrow, or something like that. So we plan that, we put a note in there, so if there's someone else in the team, they can see that that's due to be dealt with. Or we could say, no, actually, we tried that, and it just blocked all these legitimate emails for some reason, and it's just not something we want to do, so we're just going to accept that risk, and then you have to put a note as to why. Similarly, you might be using a third-party anti-phishing product of some sort, or some other alternate mitigation. Obviously, I'd recommend just setting the settings as it suggests. That's a pretty safe one to do. So, and as you can see, there's a lot here. The other thing to be aware of is that, see here we've got E5 licenses, so we've got practically every license feature available to us, but in some cases you may not be able to set you might be able to remediate this because you don't have the necessary license. So you see, if I filter this and I look for the license, so I just say no, so there must be something we don't have a license for. So click on that. So you've got the sensitivity labeling for Purview. So we don't have the license to be able to adjust that. So that is something we kind of have to accept because we don't have a license for it. But at some point we may gain that license, in which case we'll be able to follow the recommendations. So if I just clear that filter, there we go. As you can see, as I say, this is very wide ranging, and there's a lot to work to. But if you follow the list in order as suggested, then your secure score will improve, and it's a very easy way to keep track of what's going on. Because as I said earlier, this is very much a moving goalpost. It's a constantly evolving scene, and there's a lot that can be done to there's always a lot more to improve. You may find that some items you don't want to enable them. It causes issues, so you're probably never going to get to 100%, but more realistically, you may well get to 80, 85, 90, 95% even, which puts you in a much better shape than this sort of values here. You can see that there's so much more that can be done, and this really guides you through the abilities of the M365 license. All the settings that there are available to you. New stuff comes out all the time, so there is always something. It's always worth keeping an eye on this, and revisiting it at least every month, really, probably more often than that. But anyway, so that was a very quick tour of the M365 Secure Score, showing you the settings, and hopefully giving you the sort of inspiration to go and have a look and see what you can do about your own score. But anyway, back to the podcast.
Ben, excellent as always. The bit I think we should probably talk about, we touched on it earlier, is that potentially not the most intuitive Microsoft utility.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you log into the M365 portal, it's not just there. You have to then find the security portal, which again is a different address and so on, but that gets opened up. Hopefully in the demo there, it makes it pretty clear where to go, but just inherently it's not right there. And equally, if someone else has been in the portal, they might have unpinned the dashboard, and hidden it from you. So so just to know where to find it. And that was the kind of the point of this, really, is just to sort of go, this exists, here's where you find it, and this is the approach you do. Just out the box, what it's showing to you, the ranking is the kind of the order in which it believes you should be approaching that in terms of the most effect on your score, the things which are most important. So, that is what I would also recommend. And also it kind of it covers this huge breadth of technologies and settings and so on that you're very unlikely to know all of them yourself. So, I wasn't aware of that. That's something new that's come along. So, and it'll guide you to go to where the settings can be set, or take you at least to the knowledge base articles on what you need to do, whether that's setting up a new bit of software, a new update for software in Tune, and you're pushing that out, or just enabling a feature, depending on your licensing.
That's the good point on the licensing. It will tell you there that, you are not licensed potentially to do this.
Exactly. There may be something which you don't have the license to be able to reset that or change that setting. That may mean that it doesn't really apply to you. You're not using that feature, but equally, it may mean that you need to consider and go, actually, that could be really useful to lock that down more. Might be something you would look for, kind of adding that add-in or upping our licenses, to an E5 or something like that.
I was about to say, so most of that is covered. If you're an E5 consumer,
mostly got it. There's always something more with Microsoft, but there's
optional extras.
Yeah, with all your purview features.
I was about to say, things like that. If it's around a compliance standard, you would need Purview to do the file tagging and that sort of thing. And that's a completely different can of worms from a product set, but we can cover that potential.
Absolutely.
On a
one. Yeah.
Okay. Anything you'd like to add? Just thinking of you've obviously used it. We use it as a business. Any gotchas or things that you bit of advice you could impart? Yeah,
well, I think the thing is to start. This is an easy start into the security portal. As I say, it's very wide breadth. It covers all this constantly moving, evolving situation. You need to be looking at this at least monthly, I'd suggest.
Perfect.
Because that score will vary on that kind of cadence. And at the same time, once you've kind of got familiar with that and worked through some of those things, you might want to start looking at some of the other alerts in there. I think that a load of those will improve inherently as you attack the secure score.
Yeah.
As you get your score up, you'll find that those other scary looking alerts in dashboards will gradually go away, but there's always more to look at. This is an entire platform you're really looking at. It's all your client machines, your cloud services from Microsoft and so on, and the software you've got installed on your machines.
Yeah.
So there could well be a couple of hundred recommendations there, so it's going to keep you busy for a while.
Good. But that's it. I think, as we always do, it's that the right behaviours, right policy, so have that regular cadence of someone actually taking ownership of it and looking after it.
Absolutely.
Ask colleagues to not unpin it so you can find it when needed.
Yeah.
And just good hygiene.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Ben.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And thank you for joining us on this edition of Krome Cast. If there's anything you'd like Ben and I to cover in future episodes, then please leave it in the comments section below. Like, subscribe and share, and join us next time for Krome Cast. Take care.